This is an awesome show. We've got Eric, of course, from Flourishing AI, who is also behind UpLink. So get into crypto, altcoin, fast, easy through your credit card, which you've all known about. And now an interesting partnership and collaboration with Jeffrey Van Eden from GameZone. So he's the CEO and founder. And we're going to talk about all the quirks and FOMO behind the partnership, because of course it's all about the ease of mass adoption into crypto. So stay tuned. We're going to get into that. If you have questions throughout the entire video, leave them and we'll answer them live as well. Of course, disclaimer, we'll be right back. All right, guys. So we're back. Jeffrey, thanks for joining us. I appreciate it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you too, guys, for having me.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
All right, so this is a mix. So we've got GameZone, we've got BSCPad, and of course the parent company Bluezilla. So Bluezilla, that's behind everything here, right? So can you just tell us a little bit about BSCPad in itself, and then we'll go into GameZone as well. So just give us a brief rundown as to both of those.
Yep, of course. So let's start with BSCPad. It makes sense to start with that one because it was the first launchpad that Bluezilla started. I think it's over 1.5 years ago, maybe even almost 2 years ago. So it was one of the first, and it's still one of the most successful, or not the most successful, launchpad for BSC, the BNB chain. It's what it's called these days. So it had a very successful run up. Like many projects came to us, they did very well. Very well. They had big communities. We did a lot of marketing for them. So from BSCPad on, we grew and incubated a couple of other launchpads specific for a certain blockchain. Like we have ETHPad, ADAPad for Cardano and things like that.
There's a few of them.
Sorry?
There's a few of them now, which is a good thing.
Yeah, we have a couple. Yeah, we always watch, like, where's activity, where are communities, where's, need for launchpad for projects who really want to focus on a specific blockchain. And last year, I think it was around summertime, the end of summer, then the whole blockchain gaming, started to rise and, really explode. And we noticed the community, the gamers that like blockchain games, it's pretty different from, traditional crypto investors. That's when the idea came for GameZone. We really wanted to have a platform, of course, for blockchain games to have like their moment, their spotlight, but also for gamer. Sorry?
There's definitely a lot of similarities between gamers and then the crypto space. So to have GameZone basically help, with that whole connection, as Eric knows, also being involved in the gaming world, that bringing or being more specific to that niche definitely helps. It makes it more interesting.
Yeah. So that's when we started GameZone, and we had some very successful launches over the last, it's almost a year already. And we're still very happy to, keep looking for very special and unique gaming projects, help them launch, help them reach communities, and of course, help them to make an actual good and fun game. So I think that's a bit of an introduction.
Okay.
Excellent. Yeah, thank you for the intro. And Jason, if I may add just really quick, and Jeffrey, so there's two things going on there. For those of you who are relatively new to the crypto community, there are a series of launchpads, right, that specialize in certain areas. And Jeffrey, keep me honest here, right? BSCPad focuses on BNB chain. GameZone focuses on gaming and metaverses. And so what we're talking about here is a partnership between UpLink and both, of which you are the CEO of the latter. So I'm just tying all the dots, connecting all the dots together for everybody, just because there's a lot of insiders that know you guys already, right? We've known you guys we use BSCPad for our launch, in fact. But yeah, I just want to make sure to connect all the dots for everybody who's new.
Even saying that from a year ago, it still feels like it was like yesterday. It's so fast in the space. Things move so fast.
Right.
Yeah, that's crypto,
like
right? Yeah, everything goes so fast. Always. Yeah.
All right, so tell us what I also just like for everybody that just comes onto the show. I just want to have that a little bit of a personal connection. So could you just tell us a little bit about yourself and also just the team behind GameZone? We don't have to go through BSCPad or Bluezilla, but just yourself and the team at GameZone.
Yeah. Yeah, sure. So for myself, I've been involved in crypto for maybe 8 or 9 years or something like that. Over the years, yeah, I was early, and I always get the question, and the answer is yes. I did sell everything like way before, but I always, just stuck around because I, like what's happening, and I see a very big future for, crypto, blockchain, everything.
It always finds a way to pull you back in. It's always pulling you
Yeah,
back.
yeah. Once you're in, you can never get out. It's impossible.
Exactly.
So yeah, I did, everything from like, mining and investing and trading and just, everything. I'm with the Bluezilla team for 1.5 years, something like that. I joined pretty early on. So yeah, I always stuck around. Also did a lot of things within Bluezilla. With GameZone, I got the opportunity to really take a lead because, well, I always like to say I'm a very big gamer, but when I actually look at how many time I spend gaming these days, that's not much.
Zero. Too much to do.
I still feel like a gamer, and I've been gaming since I was very small.
Awesome.
So yeah, blockchain and gaming coming together, that's that's really cool for me because I love both of them. So that's a bit about me, my background. The rest of the GameZone team, it's we have our own development team. Part of them are also involved in the other Launchpad, so the technology that's just proven, it's safe, that's been used so many times. So that's always good to know. We have a specialized marketing team who help the projects sometimes really hold their hands. Sometimes we just need to give an advice on how to improve. So yeah, and that way we have a full team of specialists, to help projects launch, and help them do their marketing and reach communities before, but also after launching their token.
Okay, so some hand holding, but that's also kind of needed, especially when you are getting into the crypto space or like the dangerous space, right? It's like a whole new territory. A lot of people, perhaps they know how to walk or do things within like the real world, but then once you get into the crypto space, it's all different. Things can flip you upside down pretty quick.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and some people, they do have some some projects, some gaming projects, they have past crypto experience like me, or some even more or a little bit less. So some of them know like how it works and what you should and shouldn't do. Other projects that we are connected to, they're actually traditional game developers who've almost never heard about crypto before, and they're like, it's new, it's big, it's an opportunity, we want to go there and do something. So those projects we're very happy to be closer involved with, and tell them or advise them like keep an eye on this, make sure to do that, and do not do this and that. Okay. So we always adjust to whatever project we're talking to.
So that's actually what I was going to ask. We're not going to mention the competition, but obviously we've seen the craze with altcoins, NFTs, BSC in general, right? And once that came out, everybody's going crazy for it. But then, of course, there's Launchpads. There's a lot of Launchpads. Just say that. Mm-hmm. But also just listening to everything that you're saying, where you kind of provide I wouldn't like a white glove type service, right? So you're not there just to let projects raise capital. You're there to actually help them grow. So from like an actual from the very, very start. So what are some other things that you basically do for the projects? What else makes GameZone different than other Metaverse or other gaming type Launchpads that are out there? So just the team, the tech, consulting.
Yeah, one of the first things when we came up with the whole GameZone, the idea when we started it, I was pretty, pretty strict on to only, find quality projects, good games, because when there's a lot of hype, then of course many people, they get off their couch, they want to join the hype, make some money, do some pumps, and then make some money, and that's it. So we've always been very focused on only finding very good projects that are actually good games, fun games with a lot of potential, something new, something unique, or with a very big community, and especially in the early days, if we wanted, we could have launched like 2 or 3 projects every single day of the week, because there was so much going on. But we always stayed true to only doing like projects that we actually believe in, and we're still doing that. So the market is a bit quiet now, but of course there's still many new gaming projects with a lot of potential. So once they come to us or we find them, we're still helping them, even in these difficult in this difficult market situation, to have them give them a very good launch. The best possible, of course.
I always say now, and Eric knows this, I hate to be negative, but during these times when everything's red, when people are complaining, all this other stuff, now's the time to still grind everything out, go behind the scenes. Now's the time to start networking, establishing the partnerships, collaborations, showing what you actually really have, so that when the whole cycle and the bull run actually starts again, you're off to the races. You're not waiting. You're not saying, oh, I need to do this now, I need to do that. Everything's kind of ready and good to go. Listening to you as well. So Eric and Will, so from Flourishing AI, I like, again, the similarities here, because well, also myself, but we only like to look at solid projects. We see these meme tokens that are always out there. We always see projects that are just another fork of another project that has no substance to it, right? So there's no use case, no utility behind it. So just seeing the projects that are getting added to UpLink, seeing the projects that are getting added through BlueZillow, BSCPad, GameZone, you guys obviously doing your due diligence, you're doing your research, looking at the teams, making sure that it's real. I mean, that is extremely important to actually have for a successful Launchpad. But that connects as well to UpLink, because that's exactly what Eric and Will are doing there. So they want people to, of course, get tokens easier through the use of their credit cards, but not to just get another meme token. That's not what this is about. We're about actually growing this space and making it better for everybody going forward. So that partnership, that collaboration is going to be interesting. That's all I have to say about that. But I'm curious to know also how that interaction is going to actually work. I want to know that.
Yeah, of course. So of course, for BSCPad and GameZone, for both of them, it's very important, people who want to join this exciting space, with new projects and big opportunities. It should be easy, to join, to enter. So, having a way to get tokens easier instead of, going to a specific exchange and then having to set up. Yeah.
Jeffrey, isn't it like, so I just like to point out certain things, and I don't mean to cut you off by any means. Those that watch know that I do this for a reason, for a purpose. But listen, so Jeffrey, even to yourself, take a moment. We want to make things easier. We want to make things easier. Getting into the crypto space for majority investors is actually not easy. It's actually difficult, especially for those that just aren't aware about even finances and getting just crypto in general. But just listening to you always saying easier, how much easier can it get by literally taking your credit card and then getting the token?
Yep, exactly.
You don't have that right now.
No. And that's exactly where a very big opportunity is. And of course, we see that as well. Also, there's, with more traditional gamers who are not into crypto gaming, blockchain gaming yet, that's massive. There's like, billions of gamers out there who are waiting to join or, wanting to join, but they don't know how. So, this is a very big step in making it easy for them, because, they're used to their credit card, for example, but they're not used to like all that tech stuff going on. So by, lowering or even removing that entry barrier, there's a massive opportunity there.
So and if I may add one thing, to that, it's not just easily entering metaverse games. It's easily entering metaverse games that are quality, right? There's a quality filter there. Having worked with the team at BSCPad GameZone, I know for a fact that they do a lot of vetting, as do we. So we turn down a lot of projects, and so do they, right? So if you start getting into sort of the GameZone UpLink ecosystem, you're getting into metaverse games easily that are at a certain quality bar, and that's really important, right? You're completely eliminating the riffraff in the space.
Sure.
Yep, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I mentioned before. Like, it's very important to us that we only offer quality projects just like you guys, so people feel safe. They can look back at what you did, at what we did, and they can see like, oh, all these projects are legit. Of course, some do better than others, but none of them have been, scams or rug pulls or anything like that. Always very proud to say that after all this time and launching all these projects. So yeah, that helps. It gives people, a sense of safety, security. That's very important.
So I've got an interesting question, and we don't need the numbers, full data, just as a generalized question or an answer. So all the projects that you've had, right? Obviously, you're collecting feedback constantly as you're helping them grow, providing the consultations. Have you ever heard any of the project team members, their founders, CEOs ask or say, man, Jeffrey, if only it was easier, we would have sold out faster, or like, what else can we do to make it easier? Have you ever had projects ask you that in particular, or then also the investors themselves? Have you ever had them ask or bring that up?
Well, it is something, especially with gaming and metaverse project, it's really something that's being discussed very often. So, going back again to, the end of last summer when GameZone started and the whole blockchain gaming started really to rise. Many projects they, could launch and people would join and everything. But now you see, especially when the market is more quiet again, there's a much bigger focus on getting actual gamers. Actual people who actually want to use the products. So yeah, we're always discussing like how can we get more people in, because of course that's important for everyone. So yeah, of course
I'm just curious to know if you had somebody that came up to and been like, man, I had like 25 grand or 10 grand. I want to get into this project and I have no idea what crypto is. Like, flat out, did you ever have like a friend, family member, or somebody just come up to you and be like, I wish I could have done this, but I have no idea what I'm doing? Do you ever have that?
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah. Especially, like I said, I'm in crypto for so long, and of course, people around me, they know it. So they often come to me like, how should I start? And then when you have to start explaining, you're just like, it's so much to tell and so much. Yeah. So
let me tell you about cross-chain bridges.
Yeah, exactly. And exchanges and wallets and everything. So yeah, there's, like I said, big opportunities there to make it easier. And also, like I said, with the credit card that people know and are used, to use. Yeah, that's where a big opportunity is.
Okay. Now, I don't know the agreements and everything that's kind of happening in the background behind this partnership at this point. So we're all waiting for more information on that. But I'm also just putting the pieces of this puzzle together. So, and you guys agree to this?
We can shed some light on that
because we're live on this. So if you say yes, then we got to make it happen. So you have a Launchpad, right? So you have a Launchpad, and then you have the IDO. Typically, at that point, you obviously then have to use a native token, so Ethereum, BSC, or whatever, to get that token or get into the IDO. But after a successful IDO, that token then goes to an exchange. So there's a process, right? There's like a sequence that all these products go through. When a project is being added to an exchange, and if we're talking about like a top tier exchange, right, that takes typically months of like planning, right? A lot of these top exchanges don't just list you right away. It takes time. There's contracts, there's agreements, all this kind of stuff. So what I'm thinking here is that with upLink specifically, and again, you could correct me, but let's just say somebody's on the IDO, they're on the Launchpad, they're like, okay, I need BNB for this, right? Again, they could use their credit card, they could get the BNB, and then they could just enter the IDO right away. That's an option. I'm not saying you guys have it. Yeah, it's an option. It would make sense.
Right.
Now, afterwards, once the IDO is successful, a lot of times projects have already minted their token, or it's already like out there, just that it hasn't been released yet. But perhaps after the IDO, then people can attain that token through upLink again with their credit card before it even hits an exchange. So did you miss out on this IDO? Did you not get the token? Do you want it? We have another allocation, or we have X amount. prior to getting onto XYZ exchange. So again, there's like multiple facets to where uplink could get involved. I don't know if that's what's actually happening, but perhaps those are stuff that's in the works. I don't know. I'm curious to know what the plans are, if we're allowed to know any information.
Yeah, so of course, we're starting this partnership. So the first thing is, of course, to make it easy to get the IDO tokens. But of course, there's, like I mentioned before, there's always big opportunities to make everything easier and smoother. So yeah, for sure, projects, they always have their their token sheet, like which tokens are being sold where and who's getting what. And there's always often like something like a community round or some reserved tokens or anything like that. So there's always an option and an opportunity there to do something there.
Okay.
Keeping that a bit fake on purpose.
Somewhat secretive there. Eric, give us some information. Come on, I know you want to give us some information. You're holding back on us.
Let's just say that the partnership is going to involve multiple dimensions, so we're not going to talk about everything today necessarily. And some of these things are not because we're building suspense, although we are theatrical around here, as you guys know. But some of these things are also being sort of thought through as well. So yes, you can go ahead and pick up a token, participate in a launch. Is there going to be an intermediary period where we maybe release? I think that's a conversation between GameZone and the project, more so. So from our perspective, it's whatever the project and GameZone in concert want to do, and we can support that as well. And then obviously on an ongoing basis, a lot of these Metaverse games, and the reason I'm so pumped about Metaverse gaming is, like Jeffrey, I come from gaming. I am a gamer, right? So I'm sitting here doing this on a Razer gaming laptop, and I wouldn't have it any other way. But the other part of it is there's going to be this ongoing stream of purchases of tokens, in-game properties, and those sorts of things, right? A lot of games are starting to get in a contest. So Jason, you and I duke it out in the game. Each of us puts up, 0.1 BNB, and then the winner wins both and the loser takes home nothing, right? So things like that. So there's a lot of interesting models that are coming up here in the next couple of months that you guys are going to start to see involving tokens. So there's a lot of flexibility here. And again, it's really just a conversation between the project and us to some extent and GameZone as to how we want to market and introduce and sort of, provide value to the community at the end of the day. Entertainment value, I'd like to say.
Right. I'm going to hit you guys with a random question here, by the way. So Jeffrey, there is another thing. So GameZone in itself, it is ERC20 and it is BSC as well. So it's on both blockchains, right?
Yeah.
So, and in regards to IDOs, you're providing on multiple blockchains, or is it also just BSC specific? So would you could an IDO also be ERC20? Could it be on Polygon? Could it have other blockchains, or is it just BSC?
No. We do support multiple blockchains. Not all of them, but we do have. We've had launches where like the main game is on Polygon, and then of course the project team. It's not our decision, but it's up to the project team. They can say like we still want to have GameZone, which is the platform itself is on BSC. So then, they can decide like, do we want to have a multi-chain token that exists on both BSC and Polygon? That's an option. We also provide bridges and everything with a coupon system. So even if, there's a very good gaming project that we really want to launch, but they're not on BSC, then we can still help them. And we can use our technology to give, still give people these coupons, which they can use on the bridge, and then they get the real token on Polygon, cool. For example. Yeah. So there's more than just Polygon, but that's an example I'm using because many games are on Polygon or planning to be on Polygon.
Okay. For those that are aware of, so Flourishing AI, Beyond FOMO, Eric, I think you know where I'm getting at with this in regards to ERC20. I'm not going to spell that out, but perhaps that is also another discussion. That's why I'm bringing it up. That's it.
There's more to come.
Add to it.
Yeah, we will be expanding that universe very soon. So stay tuned for that.
Okay. You see where I'm getting at, though.
Absolutely.
Okay, you got to have some FOMO here. I mean, come on, you guys got to. Eventually, we're going to get some information from you. Maybe towards the end, we'll see what we can get.
Absolutely. Just think about it. If you were me and Will, right, what would you do? You would expand the universe, just as Jeffrey mentioned. Games want to release on BSC. They want to release on Polygon. Many of them want to release on L2 and Ethereum, right? Arbitrum, Optimism, and so on, right? So those are the things we're looking at. So based on your demand, we will adjust our product roadmap accordingly, right? Just plain talk, right? Straight talk.
I'm making Eric sweat right now. Okay. In the Launchpad, I know markets are changing. Everything has different cycles and whatnot, and we kind of touched on it before. How many projects do you guys actually have, like a set number or a goal as to how many IDOs you want to have per year, per month? Or, I mean, obviously it changes per market, but like a rough generalization, do you have like goals to hit, or just it comes as a game?
Yeah, no, we don't have an actual goal, because if you want to reach that goal, then you might have to lower your standards to, reach the goal. That's not something we're doing. So of course, right now in the current market, it's a bit more quiet, but we're still launching projects, because even in bad markets or not optimal markets, there's still good projects launching. So a number I can give you to have some idea of the activity is that since BSCPad started, throughout the entire Bluezilla ecosystem, we've launched over 200 projects, close to that. So that's in 1.5 to 2 years time. It's a lot. Yeah, it's a lot. Sorry. And when the market picks up, when it's positive, then it's going to become very busy again, because market sentiment always helps. But like I said, we're never going to lower the quality just to keep launching projects, because nobody's our community is not benefiting from that. We are not benefiting from that. And for the projects itself, it's also maybe not the right thing to launch at that time.
Yeah, you're also not going to have community members constantly, not necessarily spreading FUD, but being like, you didn't do this, you said you wanted to do that, and then all of a sudden there's all the other fun stuff that typically doesn't happen in the real world, only in the crypto space. That's it.
Yeah, exactly. It's an interesting space, that's for sure. Yeah,
no doubt.
I'm listening to this, so just 200 projects, 300 projects. Obviously, you're going to have more as we grow, but that network in itself is just growing and growing and growing. And we're seeing the metaverse in particular mixed with gaming. Just again, it's exploding, right? And I feel like we still haven't fully adjusted or have that mind frame as to where it's going. And where I'm getting at is going to be a lot more to go. Like, this is just the start of it. But once a project has a successful IDO and you have this huge network, projects or future projects that get added to that Launchpad, do they also get access to this network, right? So it's not like a typical pay to play type thing. You have invite only, because you have to be qualified to get onto our Launchpad. But then once you're in, it's like, I have access to all these other projects. I have access to this team. I'm going to have access to Eric and Will at UpLink. What other benefits are these projects getting by just getting onto your Launchpad?
Yeah, it's the network you mentioned. That's something I like to say a bit more, to tell a bit more about. So what we see right now is, especially indeed with the gaming and metaverse projects, is a lot of partnerships between the games, the metaverses. They're partnering up together. So one example of that, and that's something I really like seeing, is like, you have like project A here, game A here, game B, you have them there. You have an NFT in one of them. But it has a function in both games. So you just have to own one NFT, and it can be like a character or a weapon or a building, whatever, that doesn't matter. But you have one of them, then it has a function in both of those games. You'll see a lot of gaming guilds, of course, where players get to meet other games and play together and everything. So it's really, really growing, that's for sure. Yeah.
We just talked about that, Eric, on our, I think it was like 2 weeks or so on the live show, of having the NFT component being able to operate within multiple metaverses per se. And that's something that would be really cool to have. So those partnerships, collaborations, that's going to be pretty cool to see how those work. And
it is, and it's not new stuff
or whatever.
It's not new stuff either, right? So for those of you who have played Nintendo Switch, you get on a video game, right? You buy one of these little things called amiibos, you put it on the Switch and it gives you an in-game benefit, and it gives you a different in-game benefit depending on the game. Well, we're talking about the same thing, except some little plastic toy becomes an NFT instead. So this is a path well worn in the gaming space, right? So there's plenty of examples to draw inspiration from.
True.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm interested to know, and this is on like a personal level, so Jeffrey and Eric as well, so both of you, what do you feel is actually missing from the IDO space in particular, so the Launchpad space? What do you think is missing from like a technological aspect, or then also like project specific? So it could be either or. Like what's missing at this point?
Shall I go first, Eric? Is that okay with you?
Please.
Yeah, so I think from the user experience, of course, we, but also competitors, try to make it as easy as possible to join, to get all the information, but it's it's a lot. So there's always opportunities, to make it easier for users to only focus on, like, do I like this project? Do I want to join the IDO? Do I want to invest in, without worrying about all technical stuff that's needed? So that's one thing. Another thing that I'm, going back again to the quality standards is I see many launchpads, launching project, and of course it's also a bit of an opinion, like what do you like and what you don't like. But the quality standard that's, I think should be higher at some other launchpads. So,
Yeah.
You ask people to make an investment, to do another investment, and more investments, of course. So, it's kind of your duty, I think that's the right word, to give them quality, to give them the highest chances for, either good returns or be introduced to very good projects with big potential. That's something I would like to see improve on other launchpads as well.
I think we're going to see that just real quick. I think obviously with further regulations within the space, that might help with that going forward. But yeah, I think right now it's like a free for all, and here's what we got. If you want to come here, and good luck for some of them at least. Yeah.
Yeah.
Eric, what do you think is missing?
Well, the ability to buy tokens easily with a credit card is the obvious answer, right? That's why we started UpLink. But I'm going to give you a less, tongue-in-cheek and completely egotistical answer than that. I think what would be interesting, and this is a really small thing, but gamers will know what I'm talking about, and Jeffrey will probably sit there and go, yep, is, if you're introducing a metaverse game, try to compare it to something else, right? And I know this is tricky because everybody producing a metaverse wants to say, well, this is unique and it's the first ever. Okay, fine. But at the end of the day, there are different game styles. So is it like Horizon Zero Dawn? Is it like Street Fighter? Is it like what would you compare it to? Or I'll put it this way. One small feature that I think would be interesting for gamers is, if you like Mortal Kombat, you'll like this, right? That kind of thing. I think that would be really interesting as well and help guide some decision making. And it's a simple thing to do, right? That projects can volunteer. So
that would help with us as well. For those that have been playing all those games to be like, okay, I need to check this out. So having the similarities or analogy would definitely get more of an attention as opposed to just saying we're just another metaverse or a game. That's it.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's a good one indeed, Eric.
Yeah. Thank you.
It's funny. You got to think of like the small things, but a lot of us don't think about that.
Yeah. If you're a metaverse or game and you're launching on GameZone, right? So put it in your description, right? If you like Mortal Kombat, you'll love this, whatever it is. I keep using Mortal Kombat as an example, but simple thing to do, right? You don't have to wait for anybody to do it. Just put it right in your description of your project. So anyway, simple. Sometimes it's all about the simple things.
True. And as odd as it sounds, listening to answers to other questions about just making things easier, and then you just saying credit card, or just being able to get the token, that's like the most basic question that's always asked throughout multiple projects. How do I get your token? Over and over and over again. And just as that process is difficult, whether or not it's through an exchange or bridging, but to then just simply say use your credit card, you're on. That's it.
Yeah.
Simple.
Yeah. Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
All right, this is the ultimate question. So this is for both of you, and we're getting towards the end again. Just being cognizant of the time. If you had the ability, which I mean, actually, you do have the ability, but if you wanted to take on the additional work and the craziness of life, if you want to actually start a project, what would it be based off of, or what would you want to actually release? Eric obviously wants to do something with Mortal Kombat. That's
Clearly.
Yeah.
You know what the secret is that I'm actually terrible at Mortal Kombat. I'll just jump in very quick. I would love to do some kind of crossover that's blockchain related with some of the mobile platforms, like Nintendo Switch, like the Steam Deck. By the way, for any of you in gaming who haven't tried the Steam Deck, awesome, right? 2 thumbs up. I think that would be kind of a fun thing to do, but obviously I have my hands full. So.
Okay. But not a game, not a metaverse. You want to just create an integration.
Yeah. But specifically, okay. but specifically tailored to the mobile environment, right? So, for example, these things have near field communication. They can latch onto the same wireless network. So, if you're on a Steam Deck and I'm on a Steam Deck and we're on the same network, maybe there's an in-game benefit to being in the same network. Maybe you are in a certain position in the metaverse based on where you are physically in the real world. So I'm just ad-libbing, right? I haven't really thought some of these things through, but that would be kind of an interesting play, right? Really being able to bring people together with these mobile devices in a room and create a social experience where they're socializing with each other and also with the game itself, right? So I'm playing, but I'm also in the same room with you. And this brings back, for those of you who are as old as I am, right? LAN parties, right?
Yeah.
So
the groups, yep.
You guys remember that?
That's like ICQ times. Remember that?
Oh my
yeah,
God! Wow, ancient history.
I could go all the way back on that if you guys want.
Yeah.
All right, Jeffrey, what would be your choice?
Yeah, so obviously a gaming project. So while Eric was talking, I had a minute time to think about this. So what would the boxes for me to tick? That's also something, actually, a trend that we're now seeing change in blockchain gaming. It's moving a little bit away from the whole play to earn, like that was, like with big neon letters all over it, like play to earn, play to earn. So that's still a thing, and it's still very big. Like, who doesn't like to play a game and actually make some money from it? But what we can see now is like a very big shift of focus towards an actually, a fun game, a good game, a beautiful looking game with some unique features, where the whole play to earn, the crypto, the NFTs are a component of, but it's not like the main focus. So for me, that's also, like I said, being a gamer, I enjoy playing fun games and good games. Just have a good time and making some money, on the side, or being able to trade my NFTs with somebody else. I mean, that's fun and that's important, and that's cool to do, but it shouldn't be the main focus. So my ideal project would be a game, just, any game. And that's of course very personal what you like. I'm more into strategy games. Used to be a big fan of shooters, but I'm probably too old and too slow for that now. So, doing more strategy, it's sometimes a little bit more relaxed. High graphics quality. And like I said, of course, crypto and NFTs have to be a part of it, but the main focus should be the very fun and very cool game where people can just, start playing at 9 in the evening and say like, I'm going to play for an hour. And then they're like looking at their watch like, oh, it's 4 in the morning. I should go to bed. That's, still
in a long time.
Yeah, that's still.
Of course you don't. And you call in sick the next day, right?
I'm trying to think of this one game. It was like something with like the hotel. Was it like penguins or something where you would like meet or like chat with people, go around like in a hotel for, I can't remember the name. That was an older game, but like everyone just talked about it. Like that's how you just found out about it, right? Because everybody just
penguin.
I think so. Yeah. I don't know, but you just found out about it because everybody was so excited and they were so highly involved in the game. Like they just didn't want to leave. That's me with like Gran Turismo. If you give me that game, you probably won't even actually see me on Beyond FOMO for a while. I just won't be on the computer. I won't get any work done. I just get thrown into the game. That's all that I want to do. I want to get all the achievements. I want to go through it all. I want to beat the game. and nothing's going to stop me until I do that. It's bad.
Gran Turismo 7 is really good. I've played it.
Yeah,
It's really good.
Yeah. I haven't allowed myself to touch a video game console for that very specific reason, because I won't get any work done because of that.
For sure.
That's just me. Okay. A lot of information. Those that are watching are going to digest all of that, especially in regards to this collaboration. So getting into the IDO via credit cards and uplink, and then the possibilities of then further access to those tokens even before hitting an exchange. And then obviously if projects are on an exchange, what's the point of a top tier exchange when you could also just use your credit card to get the token? That's actually another interesting point, right? The value or the value proposition behind some exchanges aside from funds or users. But the whole point is to get your token. But if people are using their credit card and it's fast and easy, do you need an exchange? Interesting.
You can go right to cold storage too, which these days seems to be a pretty safe bet.
Okay.
Keep your game tokens there.
GameZone. I'm going to have all the information, all the links below, so everybody can go and check that out. For those that have questions, how else can they reach you? Do you want them to just go into like a Discord, Telegram group, through email?
Yeah, we are the biggest. Our biggest platform for communication is on Telegram and Twitter, of course. So the website is GameZone.io, and from there you can find the links to Telegram and Twitter, and that's where we post all the updates about games that are upcoming for launching. We're also supporting games after launching if they have like something big like a new version, a new season, or actually going live, because of course it's early game, so it's all there. So yeah, be sure to check it out.
Okay. Now, before we go, I have to ask you the other question. One other question. What can you give us, so the Beyond FOMO community? I gotta ask this. That hasn't necessarily been made public, or GameZone community members might know about if they actually, dove into it, did some crazy research, and was like, "Oh, this is something big." What's something that's not necessarily out there that you could tell us? Give us something. You got to give us some info.
I can give something. Just have to pick my words carefully.
Out for this.
Yeah. No problem. So, all right.
Just make sure it has nothing to do with NDAs or anything. I don't want to get you in trouble, but we need something good, something juicy.
Yeah.
Right.
No, I know what I'm gonna say. So, I've mentioned a few times before that there's opportunities everywhere. Things are evolving, growing, and changing. So, of course, at GameZone, we know it, we see it. We do see, and now I'm gonna start being a bit fake. So, some opportunities for new gaming projects that are actually going live, having their or their public game or their public beta or anything like that. When it's available, of course, they have their early investors, their community, but of course, they want to reach more people. So we're working on something, and I'm going to be very vague, that's going to help these games that are in that stage of development. It will help them a lot. Okay. And that's being worked on right now. It's being developed. That should go live in a couple of months. Have to be careful there.
Yes.
Making him sweat, making Jeffrey sweat a little bit.
That's a good clue.
No,
don't ask me anything, Jason. I'm not saying anything. I can't get in trouble.
Eric, I was going to say it's your turn now. Okay.
Nope.
We're super excited to do it.
All right. Yeah. We'll end the torture on that. Is there anything else that you guys would like to add? Do you think that we're missing?
No, I think we're good.
Okay.
I think we're great. So
yeah.
I'll simply end it at, we're super excited to welcome GameZone and BSCPad. And
I hope everybody takes this information, understands what's really happening, like here, what's being set up. This is something pretty damn big.
Yeah. It's a big one. We're super excited about it for sure.
All right. As always, so thanks everybody. Jeffrey, obviously, thank you for your time. I appreciate it. In the future, we'll probably have other projects as well, talk about them or introduce them. As always, though, leave a comment, hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe. We go live Fridays for you guys. So ask questions within the live chat. We're here to answer them. Go do that. All the links for UpLink, Flourishing AI, GameZone, everything is in the description below. Ask questions. I cannot repeat myself enough. You need to ask questions to get your answers. And even with projects, so Jeffrey, if somebody says, I want to know more about this, I'm sure you have the answers for that, but that's something people have to start doing. It's your money. You worked hard for it. Make sure you're utilizing it and doing everything that you can to help it growing. And then have fun with it with these games.
Exactly.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Jason. Thanks, Eric.
All right.
Thanks,
stay there.
Jason.
Don't
Thanks,
go away.
Jeff.
We'll be right back.